Now in the seated position, we've got a couple variations of wrist exercises, and you don't have to, but you can use your legs, your thighs, as kind of a bench and rest your forearms on there. So the first version, with the adjustable arms down in position number 9 and the straps in the shortest D-ring, so the D-ring closer to the grip, we're going to do wrist flexion. Josh's entire forearm is resting on his thigh with his hand out beyond his knee so it can move at the wrist. Okay, get it out there far enough that your wrist is not bumping into your knee right there. And his forearms are parallel to each other as he does wrist flexion. Now, as you're doing wrist flexion, something I'm going to ask you to keep in mind is not to let the fingers roll down, because some people think, oh, well, while I'm doing wrist flexion, I'm going to do finger flexion also. The only problem with that is that as you go into eccentrically letting them uncurl, sometimes, almost every time, we relax the wrist muscles and you end up in a significant amount of hyperextension of the wrist and no support for all these little bones that are precariously hanging out in there. So keep that grip tight as you control into the eccentric portion, and then pull those fingertips towards the bicep or towards the elbow for full flexion. Now we're going to make a very slight change as we flip over for the wrist extension exercise, because when we do that, notice Josh's elbows kind of went outward, and you want that to happen. It's virtually impossible to turn your palms all the way over facing the floor while keeping your forearms parallel to each other. So let those flare out a little bit this time. And now, same thing, only backwards. Knuckles towards the elbow or knuckles towards the bicep for wrist extension.